Hi everyone, my name is Charlie and today I have my reading vlog of English Animals by Laura Kaye. This was the third book I read off my coordinated TBR, and this book was chosen by Brian's bookshelves. He probably doesn't know this, but basically he sent me the number 41 and that corresponded to this book. It follows the character of Meerkat, who has come to Britain from Slovakia and ends up being some sort of housemaid for a lonely couple. I'm calling them lonely. This video and this series of videos is about celebrating other booktubers, so let's talk about Brian. Let's talk about Brian's bookshelves. Brian is where you want to go if you want recommendations for crime fiction. I am a fan of crime fiction myself, and yet I don't know as much about it as Brian does. Please excuse whoever's dog that is barking in the background. Brian is just a soft-spoken, quiet, calming presence on BookTube, the likes of which we are always in need of. And honestly, I just think that his channel, his content is marvellous and you all better be checking him out. Basically, I mean, there's also stuff going on Twitter, like there's these amateur dramatics productions he's part of that just leave me constantly astounded by the stuff he's talking about, but that's probably because I have no idea about the actual world of amateur dramatics. But yeah, crime fiction, calm, softly spoken, just what you want from a booktuber. I say this about all of them because there are just so many different styles, genres of booktubers. Brian's got this whole crime... No, that makes him sound like a criminal. He's got genre fiction on his side. He's got, well, sometimes he has the beard on his side. I mean, honestly, this man, the man's facial hair puts people to shame. I'm going to say that. I mean, I do think he shaved it off recently for a show, but still, we'll keep quiet about that. Anyway, yes, English Animals, Laura Kaye, Brian's bookshelves, let's get to it.
That meant I then started English Animals straight away. I was planning to start Kintu by Jennifer Nansubuga Makumbi, but that did not happen, and it didn't happen simply because I wanted something light, quick and fast to read after The Lies of Loch Lamora, so I chose a book about lesbians and taxidermy. And I mean, it's working out because I started it between 9 and 10 o'clock last night, and before it was about 2 minutes to midnight, I stopped reading and I was at the 180 page mark. So I'm thinking it's going to be pretty quick. I'm hoping to read a lot more tonight and then maybe finish it tonight even, and then read Kintu tomorrow. And just get myself back on track with how I wanted this reading month to go.
Last night I finished English Animals by Laura Kaye, and I'm not sure how I feel about the book. It was incredibly quick. The writing kept me engrossed. I do think that the final maybe 60 pages dragged a bit. But was this a debut novel? Yes, this is the writer's first novel, so I have no complaints about it. It was up there with most of the great debuts. I want to reread it, and yet it just left me feeling like, is that it? Was that the point? I understand the insights into a lot of different people within England and how someone from a different country might think about them and consider what they're doing. But overall, I don't know that we needed a novel for that. But that did assuage this fear I had of not completing enough books this month and not getting around to this TBR. So last night I began Kintu by Jennifer Nansubuga Makumbi. I'm currently 112 pages into this. I'm not sure what this book is about really. I know that I'm currently in 2004 and it started in 2004, but then it went back to 1750 and it showed us where this curse began upon this family. There's stuff about twins. There's a lot of, I'm imagining it's Ugandan folklore. I believe from the blurb and from what I've heard other people say, we're seeing the history of Uganda and Uganda in 2004 from the perspective of this one family and its descendants and the curse they feel they have upon them. There is a touch of the supernatural in here. There's a lot of storytelling in here and folklore and mythology. So far it's incredibly dense and it's taking me a while to read. I read for about an hour last night and only got this far into it. So I'm hoping to get more read today, and then I might go for another walk along the canal. I feel like doing that, and I feel like I'll probably read for an hour and then go and do that. So I probably won't check in again today, simply because, once again, my family is going to come back, and I would like to talk more tomorrow or even Thursday, when I should have started another book, and also when this Twitter poll picking the next book for me to read has finished. But so far, these are my thoughts.
So, I read to page 300 and something last night in Kintu, and that's where we ended up leaving it. I do think that had I not gone for a 2-hour-long walk yesterday along the canal, then I might have been able to finish that book. I didn't mean to be gone for 2 hours, but last week when I did it, I thought if I just went a bit further, I could get to the canal steps that were near where I went to primary school, and there was something nostalgic in me that really wanted to make that walk. And it was a nice walk. Yes, it was a bit cold, but I was wearing my coat and I was just enjoying myself. And then I forgot that whatever you walk there, you're going to have to walk back. And it wasn't like last week where I dawdled a bit, so where I'd been walking for 50 minutes, I was back home within the next half hour. No, I'd been walking for an hour, so I had an hour walk back. I arrived home at 3:15, drenched in sweat because as I was out it had warmed up, and all I wanted to do was bathe. So there's an image for you. However, I did listen to some of Witches Abroad by Terry Pratchett, so it wasn't all a loss. But yes, Kintu is a strange book. It's reminding me somewhat of Homegoing by Yagiasi. Ogiasi. I can't remember how we're supposed to pronounce that. My apologies. I will go back to my video and have a look. In that, there are so far, I think we've got 5 parts. I think I'm at part 5, and each part has followed a different member of the family. However, that's the only way it does it. It's probably done in a lot of different genres. I mean, to be honest, if we mashed them all together, we could call this a novel. But you know, you get a different outcome. Anyway, not talking about that. So each different section is dedicated to a different descendant of the guy in the first part. And Lord, this book it's so strange. It not strange in a bad way. There's folklore, there's myth, there is supposed spirits, there is supposed mental illness, there is a curse, and there is Ugandan history in here, and it's a particular place that I'm not that knowledgeable about. And so I just get completely astounded by some of the places this book goes to, because it does not shy away from dark subject matter, and it is written extremely well in that there seems to be a different way of writing for each different character, and there's just I'm just really enjoying it. That's all I can say. And I don't think I'm going to finish it tonight. I think I'm going to finish it tomorrow, which will bring us up to speed with the plan that I had, even though I was running late last week. Ideally, I'd meant to finish these 3 books, Lies of Locke Lamora, English Animals and Kintu, all by Sunday. So not to finish them by Thursday is actually pushing me back quite a bit, but that's fine. Tonight I'm going to the theatre, and then tomorrow morning I'll finish the book, then I'll go to the writers group, then I'll come back and try and read a bit of Happiness. I'm hoping that because I've got quite a few short books for the middle week, that it's going to help me pull back some of the issues, some of the lateness we got because of Locke Lamora. So yes, we will see. I've written out an entire plan for what I intend to do with my reading. Writing's gone to shit because I'm reading. Why does it always have to be one or the other? Why can't I get better time management skills? I don't know. Try raising a family of 5. And they're all adults. Stupid. Anyway, I'll silly when I silly.
Do you want to have a guess who deleted all of his footage for Kintu by Jennifer Nansubuga Makumbi? Because, that was me. I know that I recorded my final thoughts on this book. I know that I deleted them alongside my deleting of the introduction and outro to a video about this book. So, well done, Charlie. You're doing really well at this booktube stuff. You should keep at it. Anyway, I actually ended up finishing Kintu on the 12th or 13th of September. It was one of those days. And I ended up thoroughly enjoying this book and saying how much I really think that you ought to go out and you ought to read it and you should just consume it because it's just so fantastic. It's one of those books that everybody needs to consume simply to look at the way this writer crafts a story. If you are a writer and you're interested in looking at storytelling, then Kintu does it properly. Also, you may have noticed now that I've actually changed how I pronounce this book's title, and that is because I didn't want to read the introduction until the end, because I've had books spoiled for me in the past by reading the introduction, and it tells you how to pronounce Kintu in the introduction, and so I waited. In fact, I could probably still be pronouncing it wrong now. I don't think I am, but what can you do? Anyhow, I said what this book does. I still have one character stuck in my mind from this book, and name-wise, I believe, if I'm pronouncing this incorrectly, I apologise, but it's Subi. Her character has been stuck in my head, and her storyline has been stuck in my mind since I finished this book. Naturally, there are images from this book that resonate in my mind, and I remember often, as happens with all literature, and I think any reader could say that. But hers is the most prominent when I think about this book. When I finish a book, it becomes a jumble in my head as to when things happen, and that has happened with this book. However, there's a lot that I recall and remember, and one of those things is just the sheer breadth of the story and the storytelling and the way in which Nansubuga Makumbi chose to actually tell this story. And yes, please go out, read this book. If we were talking in terms of numbers as to where this came on the coordinated TBR, I can't remember, you'd have to go to a different video for that, but this was the book that came out that I ended up reading because of my mother's coordinates, so I don't think that I'll actually mention anything about her. She ain't a booktuber, ever, yet. She reads Mills and Boon. Anyway, pleased to be going and reading that book. Booktube lark, it's tough. It's tough, man. It's tough. And that was my reading vlog for English Animals by Laura Kaye. Please do go over and check out Brian's channel and just show him some support, some love, subscribe. And yeah, if you have read this book and would like to discuss it, please feel free to do so down in the comments. I hope you enjoyed this video, and until next time, that is all.